Roseburg, and Coos Bay. Kval News at 6 starts now.
Next week, when seniors begin to become eligible, we will see some degree of chaos.
While acknowledging hiccups in the vaccine rollout and promising some chaos next week, health officials in Oregon say they're improving the vaccine timeline. They say they'll be able to move more quickly through some groups than previously thought. Good evening, I'm Jacqueline Fernandez.
And I'm David Walker. We have team coverage for you tonight.
James Rosen joins us in Washington with more on reopening schools.
Hadley Heck has the latest on the Lane County website crash.
But first, we turn now to Lauren Negretti, who shares some good news tonight. Lauren, we're learning the vaccination supply is actually increasing here in Oregon by 20%.
That's right, Jacqueline. We're talking 11,600 more vaccines a week. This as the state unveils new resources designed to help you find out where and when you can get vaccinated.
The state's ability to vaccinate depends on three things: vaccine supply, patient eligibility, and the capacity of vaccination sites.
The good news is the vaccine allocation is increasing.
Last week, the state surpassed Governor Brown's daily vaccination goal, vaccinating an additional 4,000 people. And Oregon Health Authority Director Patrick Allen says vaccination sites can administer twice the amount of vaccines they're getting. He says their only limitation is the number of vaccines they receive. Meanwhile, seniors with questions can call 211 for information.
Thank you for calling 211. We are currently experiencing a high call volume.
And to help ensure the phone lines are running smoothly, I am deploying an additional 30 National Guard members to help staff the call center.
I'm going to call 211 myself to see just how long it takes to get a call back.
And receive a call back, please press 1. Otherwise, please wait for the...
Turns out, it took more than 3 hours for someone to return my call. This as OHA is launching Get Vaccinated Oregon, an online tool Oregonians can use to get registered to get the vaccine.
And hopefully having multiple resources at the community's disposal will help expedite the vaccination process. At this point, I'm told the general public will have to wait until at least July to get vaccinated.
Lauren, thanks for the update. The Oregon Health Authority and Governor Brown are saying the initial phase of the senior rollout will be a bit of a roller coaster. Even if you're eligible on Monday, be ready to wait weeks for the chance to be vaccinated. There is hope a new vaccine will help. Johnson & Johnson submitted its product for emergency use authorization. The state won't count on those doses, though, until they have them in hand. And soon you'll be able to add pharmacies to the list. The federal pharmacy program will allow some Oregon pharmacies to have vaccines starting next week.
Seniors can get vaccinated through local public health authorities or their partners, including hospitals, public vaccination clinics, and in long-term care facilities.
And if you're not tech savvy, you can call your local health department with your questions.
Educators in Oregon have been eligible to get the vaccine for a couple weeks now. So how close are we to returning to physical classrooms? Governor Kate Brown made it clear today she has a federal partner in reopening schools, but it's still an open question as to which districts will open up and when. Governor Brown talked about federal money to pay for school safety improvements. She mentioned a plan for contact tracing and testing, and she touted vaccinations, but she also seemed to indicate some educators may need more convincing.
I am using my powers of persuasion. I am talking with both teachers and superintendents on a regular basis to hear from the educator workforce what their concerns are.
In at least one state, Maryland, the governor promised to use the legal process to force schools to reopen. Governor Brown also mentioned legal maneuvers in a statement today, her office clarifying by what they meant by when they said legal tool, saying, quote, if and when challenges to the ability of children to return to school present themselves, the governor is prepared to take necessary action. But that action could take a number of forms based on the circumstances, and it's difficult to address hypotheticals at this point.
Well, no question, there has been a lot of information out there to take in. And if you had some difficulty understanding what the federal government's experts on the coronavirus were telling you over the last few days on the question of when it would be safe for schools to reopen, you are not alone. National correspondent James Rosen reports tonight.
In addition to spreading illness and death, the coronavirus has restricted virtually all forms of commerce and assembly and inflicted particular strain on parents, especially working mothers, whose children must now learn remotely at home.
Now let me turn to Dr. Walensky.
After Wednesday's press briefing by top members of the White House COVID response team, those working moms breathed a collective sigh of relief when they heard one of their own, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, director of the Centers for Disease Control and mother of 3, declare light at the end of the tunnel.
There is increasing data to suggest that schools can safely reopen, and that safe reopening does not suggest that teachers need to be vaccinated in order to reopen safely.
That briefing can still be found on the official White House YouTube channel, but the White House press secretary disowned the CDC director's comments.
Dr. Walensky spoke to this in her personal capacity. Obviously, she's the head of the CDC, but we're going to wait for the final guidance to come out.
It marked the second time Dr. Walensky's candor caused colleagues to clarify her comments. Last month, she said, "I can't tell you how much vaccine the U.S. has in inventory," prompting this explanation from Dr. Anthony Fauci, the government's top infectious disease officer.
What she was trying to say is that there are multiple steps, and there's vaccine at each one of those steps.
Conservative media pounced on the administration's latest discrepancy in COVID messaging.
In this instance, she was speaking based on the scientific information. If an administration is going to say we should trust the scientists, then they need to trust the scientists they put in place.
The Philadelphia Federation of Teachers has advised its members not to report to school on Monday, citing inadequate safety precautions. The Chicago Teachers Union is on the verge of striking, and it is believed that San Francisco just became the first city ever to sue its own school district to force the reopening of the schools there. Outside the nation's capital, James Rosen.
Yesterday, the Lane County website crashed, and now today we're learning COVID-19 vaccine pre-registration was not the cause of the outage. Kval's Hadley Heck joins us in studio with an update on the website's status tonight. Hadley.
Today, it was confirmed that the county's website vendor, Civic Live, is experiencing outages throughout their customer base. I spoke with county officials about when the site may be back and other ways people can access county resources.
On Thursday afternoon, the Lane County website crashed, meaning no access to county businesses or resources. Since the crash, the county has pivoted, developing a temporary web page.
It was like a splash page with basic information, phone numbers for folks who are, let's say, trying to schedule an appointment for a community health center, or folks who need a restaurant license, and things like that. So yeah, we do have that splash page. You can go there and you can get some basic information.
Now that basic information is accessible, when can we expect the site to return?
Do you have any idea when the regular site will be back?
No clue.
Although the Lane County website is down, the link to the COVID-19 vaccine pre-registration form is still working. Lane County officials encourage individuals to follow the link and complete the form.
So we updated all of our social media sites to have that link in it. And we're sending out our weekly vaccine newsletter where we kind of update folks about the current situation with vaccine. We're going to have that link in there.
After filling out a vaccine pre-registration form, you wait for a call from a local vaccine provider.
If you are not 65 plus, if you do not have a pre-existing condition, if you have not been working in a job where you've had to maintain kind of a public interface or had to be working with people, members of the public throughout the pandemic, it will likely be quite some time before you receive that call.
The demand for the vaccine is high, and Lane County is committed to getting things done.
We will not leave anybody without a vaccine who is eligible in Lane County. We will work our very hardest to get a shot in your arm. We won't waste any doses. So please be patient and understanding, and we're trying.
You can find the COVID-19 vaccine pre-registration link on our website at kval.com. Jacqueline.
All right, thanks, Hadley.
Well, the Oregon Health Authority is reporting some numbers today. 5 new deaths, bringing the total number of deaths related to COVID to more than 2,000. There were 846 new confirmed or presumptive cases, and more than 146,000 Oregonians have now tested positive for the coronavirus.
The Oregon Employment Department's struggles to pay jobless benefits last year will come under review in the next year. They issued top Secretary of State Shemia Fagan's to-do list for her audit plan moving forward. Based on her plan released just yesterday, it's going to be rooted in the Oregon Employment Department's IT systems. Their audit will examine the causes for several issues we've reported on in months past. Fagan says she hopes to identify the challenges that came up last year and ensure the system will be resilient in a future crisis.
New tonight at 6, Governor Brown is calling for an Oregon State representative to step down. Now the Senate President, Peter Courtney, is joining the governor and 26 other lawmakers. They're calling on Democratic State Representative Diego Hernandez to leave the legislature. Hernandez is accused of violating the legislature's anti-harassment policy several times. During today's statewide coronavirus update, the governor made a point of calling on Hernandez to resign. She says an investigation found Hernandez created an intimidating and hostile work environment for several women.
Let me be very clear. If this were any other workplace, Representative Hernandez would have already been shown the door.
Along with the governor, Senate Majority Leader Rob Wagner commended the women who came forward and echoed the governor's call for Hernandez to resign.
Lawyers for Representative Diego Hernandez say the House committee that conducted the investigation did not hear their evidence. They argue his job cannot be taken away from him without due process. We contacted the representative's office today and are waiting to hear back. But just last week, Hernandez posted a lengthy statement on Facebook saying in part, quote, "The report alleges that I blurred the lines between personal and professional relationships with my consensual romantic partners and that I had a negative impact on their work. If that is how they experienced it, then my intentions aren't relevant. And let me just say unequivocally that I am very, very sorry and mortified at my role in their experience."
Coming up here on Kval News, the Michelle Marie. It's a new boat out of Coos Bay. Testing its sea legs. We'll explain.
And the Archie Creek fire tears through the Steamboat Inn. The rebuilding process not possible without community support. More from David Ochoa tonight.
Plus, there are new scanners in Douglas County that will help Fido get back home sooner. We have the details for you right after the break.